How's it going, Rick and Morty fans? This is a really late homeless loser Rick and Morty review. I'm sorry. I was supposed to be doing this like 5 days prior, but it's Sunday night. Today is the season finale of Rick and Morty, which is why it's just one of my most favorite TV shows, which is why I started this review process in the first place. So, today I'm going to be reviewing last week's episode called The ABCs of Beth. And even though the season finale is tonight at 11:30, please go watch that. It's on in about a half an hour for me. So I'm just going to do last week's episode, and then maybe Tuesday, if I'm free, I'm going to be reviewing the series finale that day. So I just didn't want to like miss an episode. So without further ado, and so I can go watch that episode upstairs because I'm so excited at that season review. Let me review episode 9 titled The ABCs of Beth. Now, I'm going to be really quick and blunt. We finally got a Beth episode. And like it's just something that a lot of fans have wanted for such a long time. We've always wanted a Beth episode because Beth hadn't had her father for 20 years. Rick shows up, does all of his crazy shit, and we always wondered how did Beth cope with not having a father, and so finally we actually had an episode with just those two around because they never really hanged out, barely ever in like the entire show. So um, I got some really odd notes. Give me a sec. But after so Rick makes a meta joke saying that we clearly need to have a Morty here. And what he means by that is basically we had a adventure, okay, that we always wanted, Beth and Rick. But Beth is such a Rick like character to where they're both too smart to be on the same adventure. Because we have a really good dynamic of Rick and Morty, of just a smart character and a kind of a dumb, naive character. And that just makes the whole ride of the adventure so enjoyable. But if you have two smartasses like Beth and Rick, they kind of just expose the whole story structure layout so quickly that it just becomes kind of boring. Like we already know what's like going to happen. Like Beth and Rick figure out the entire process of how Tommy has been surviving and like the entire storyline in like 3 seconds flat. Like together, they are too smart to where a conflict cannot exist. So although we wanted this episode, it's not that fun if we have them both in the same team, basically. And yeah, I mean, it just speaks to having a comedic duel. Like you need people to play off of each other. Like you have to have polar opposites, like bad cop, good character, bad character. Like AKA Rick and Morty, Rick and Jerry, who is a Morty-like character. Jerry is pretty much a Morty. Rick and Beth wasn't just much fun because Beth is just like Rick. Um, we had an episode back in season 2 where it was a Beth and Jerry episode. It worked a lot. A lot of people like their storylines because they're so similar to Rick and Morty. Like they have a good opposite dynamic that work comedically off of each other, and it just works. And that's what you need. And something you just can't have if you have Beth and Rick. They're too similar. Um, Side story is Jerry's new girlfriend, which is kind of obvious. Like he picked a girlfriend who was just like Beth. She is stronger than him, is really dominant. She's a badass, which is why Jerry liked Beth in the first place. So it's kind of like he just replaced Beth with a more Beth-like person, which just speaks to him not really getting over his marriage. Which how can you? You had like what, a 20-year marriage or like a 15-year marriage? That stuff doesn't just go away. It takes time. And also, it's kind of funny because Jerry, he doesn't want to take responsibility for his actions whatsoever. He tells his girlfriend that his kids are racist against aliens, so that's why he had to dump them. And I'm like, wow, Jerry, he needs to grow a sack. Like he needs to grow a pair. And in his episode, he does it, but how much progress can Jerry really make? Like he's such a wuss in a way. Like, and it's hilarious. It really is hilarious. Um, we had a Stone Cold Steve Austin reference when Rick calls Beth Stone Cold Steve Austin, and like he's like, why did I say that? That makes no sense. But obviously, if you like wrestling, I've been watching wrestling for a few years in my life. I actually stopped watching it like 5 years ago. But if you don't know who Steve Austin is, he is a wrestler from the WCW days with Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant, I think his name was. And Steve Austin was like that one badass character that like all the boys like all the kids looked up to because he would do just the most badass cool stuff, give no shit. Like he will walk down into the ring drinking beer, giving no shits about the ratings. like like he would literally drink like two beers like before every one of his matches. And it was so funny because he would be kicking your ass while he's kind of like intoxicated. So yeah, it was like kind of funny. Um, we had a callback to season one when Rick told the president that he dabbled in music, which a lot of us kind of really speculated, like, how do you? Because not a lot of scientists dabble in being a musician. It's not impossible, but not really people do it. Plus, we never see Rick actually play music. Like, we only see him just simply listen to music. But when Beth comes back from killing everybody in Froggyland and killing Tommy, we see Rick playing the guitar and actually practicing some lyrics and actually playing some pretty good notes. And I'm just wondering because if you look at the season finale's trailer, we see you see the return of the goddamn president of the United fucking States, played by Keith David. Yeah, it's pretty cool actor. So he's coming back, and I wonder if there's a callback to that because the last time we saw the president was a whole Get Swifty episode. So maybe it's that. But also, if you listen to the lyrics of Rick and Beth's montage of being scientists, you actually hear the lyrics that Rick was practicing. You know, how he has a doo doo in his butt and he doesn't know what to do. And it's just so it, it could be interpreted one way or the other way. Either way, it's still kind of funny. Um, let's see what else do I have. That's pretty much it. But like aside from just the final question, just did Beth make the choice of staying with her family or leaving the family? It's really smart because I watched this episode 3 times because on 3 separate occasions I thought about doing this review. And upon watching it, there's so much evidence that can point to either way. You can argue that she stayed. You can argue that she left. It's insane how it's like any option has really good evidence to prove you right, but you also can't prove the other person wrong. Like she seems so happy that her kids come home, and you could say, okay, well, she's a robot, but no, she chose to stay in the family. And the reason why Beth was so miserable in her marriage and her family life was because she never got to choose. And that comes back from her father's genetics because Rick, he loves freedom. He loves freedom of choice. He loves the fact that if he fucks up his planet, he can leave into another universe whenever he fucking feels like it. He likes the choice. He doesn't like being stuck. He likes he likes being stuck because he chose to be stuck. So because Jerry got her pregnant when she was 16, she never had the choice to have a family. She never had the choice to pick her husband or to get married. It just sort of happened because of life. And she never had to choose, which really stuck with her throughout her entire life. Which it and like which with in which like when we know Rick, it drives him insane. He hates not being able to choose his own fate. So like Rick even says in the episode, like whatever you choose, you're going to be happy because it's your choice. That's the point. And That alone can just say she stayed. But you can also say that she's so happy that maybe she left. We don't know. Like, personally, I used to say yes until I watched it before I did this review because there's like I just saw so much evidence that just spoke to her staying, and I'm like, yeah, it's plausible. She could have stayed. I guess I can say I'm one of those people who believe Beth stayed because she seems so happy that she got the choice to stay with her family. That's all she wanted. She just wanted the choice. That's all that ever matters to some people. And maybe that's what happened. Anyway, that's it for my review. I'm about to go watch the season finale. It's going to be on in 20 minutes. I won't be reviewing it tonight because obviously, maybe Tuesday, maybe Thursday of the week after Sunday, the day that the episode comes out, of course. Um, so yeah, please leave a comment if you like my reviews. I'm also thinking about purchasing an actual camera so my videos can look better. If you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. I'll be reading them. I read them pretty much like every day. Uh, Subscribe to my channel, Homeless Losers. Come back next week whenever I make the next review. See you guys later.